Stuff gets better if we work at it. You know, you can't take yourself too seriously. You have to take the job seriously.
Whether you love him or you hate him, he can definitely sell, and he's got bags of charisma. Here are Barack Obama's top 5 rules for sales success.
We have looked at a whole slew of problems when we came into office, and we've said, where can we advance the ball down the field each and every time across the board? And we don't score a touchdown every time, but we move the ball forward.
Do you feel like you've hit the metrics that you wanted to hit, even within?
You're always going to fall short, because if you're hitting your marks, that means you didn't set them high enough.
We too often let the external, the material things serve as indicators that we're doing well, even though something inside us tells us that we're not doing our best, that we're avoiding that which is hard but also necessary, that we're shrinking from rather than rising to the challenges of the age. And the thing is, in this new hyper-competitive age, none of us can afford to be complacent. That's true whatever profession you choose. Professors might earn the distinction of tenure, but that doesn't guarantee that they'll keep putting in the long hours and late nights and have the passion and the drive to be great educators. The same principle is true in your personal life. Being a parent is not just a matter of paying the bills, doing the bare minimum. It's not just bringing a child into the world that matters, but the acts of love and sacrifice it takes to raise and educate that child and give them opportunity.
One thing that I feel deeply about, and this is something I'll feel deeply about when I leave government, is stuff gets better if we work at it and we stay focused on where we're going. It doesn't immediately get all solved. And I warned against this when I was running for office, because everybody had the hope posters and the this and the that, and everybody was feeling like,
hey,
man,
we didn't make those, you made those.
No.
What are you blaming us?
No.
That wasn't us.
Hold on a second. No, I like the poster.
I'm pretty sure that came from you.
It was a nice poster. No, but what I'm saying is that if you look at what I said at the time, I said, this is going to be an ongoing project, and it's a project of citizens. It's not just fix it. It's how do we work together to get things done, and it will be imperfect.
Yes.
But over time, is it better? And here's the thing I can say, John.
Yes.
I can say this unequivocally. The VA is better now than when I came into office. It is better now than when I came into office. Government works better than when I came into office. The economy, by every metric, is better than when I came into office. Mm-hmm. And so the reason I can sleep at night is I say to myself, you know what? It's better. Now, am I satisfied with it? No. And should voters be satisfied with it? Absolutely not, because otherwise, if we get complacent and lazy, then stuff doesn't happen.
I know that too many young men in our community continue to make bad choices. And I have to say, growing up, I made quite a few myself. Sometimes I wrote off my own failings as just another example of the world trying to keep a black man down. I had a tendency sometimes to make excuses for me not doing the right thing. But one of the things that all of you have learned over the last 4 years is there's no longer any room for excuses. I understand there's a common fraternity creed here at Morehouse. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, used to build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothingness. Well, we've got no time for excuses. Not because the bitter legacy of slavery and segregation have vanished entirely, they have not. Not because racism and discrimination no longer exist. We know those are still out there. It's just that in today's hyper-connected, hyper-competitive world, with millions of young people from China and India and Brazil, many of whom started with a whole lot less than all of you did, all of them entering the global workforce alongside you, nobody is going to give you anything that you have not earned. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered some discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations endured, and they overcame them. And if they overcame them, you can overcome them too.
Part of the way you survive the stress of the White House is being able to laugh with your team about some of the crazy stuff that happens. And you know, you can't take yourself too seriously. You have to take the job seriously. You have to take your responsibilities seriously, but you know, you have to be able to laugh at yourself first and foremost in order to be able to manage the whole thing.